Alright folks, welcome back to Rusty Garage. Today we're going to be modifying a set of headers off my Bronco. I'm going to remove this 3-bolt flange and weld on this V-band. So now that we got the new V-band flange welded on, we need to take the other half and clamp it on. And there she is. Little trick, use whatever pipe you're going to use. Make sure it goes through both of them so it helps center it up. Some of these cheaper ones don't have the lip that helps keep it lined up, so this helps. This kit was like 25 bucks off Amazon, and it came with 2. You know, cheap, but it gets the job done. Now we just gotta take this, fold it back to the engine. My phone overheated while I was sitting right there in the sun and stopped recording. So went ahead and put the easy up and got her all bolted in and tightened down. Now that we've got both headers back in, we can start fabbing up an exhaust. So this is gonna be our new exhaust. I got this this whole kit here from Amazon. I got the muffler from Amazon as well. It came separately. Kit was about $90. Came with two 180 bends, two 45s, two straights, two 90s. This one is cut down, as you can tell, which I will explain later. And then this muffler was like 55 bucks. It's dual in, dual out, just to keep nice and compact. Ideally, we would run two separate pipes down to an X pipe, spread out, and then run two all the way to the back. But you see right here, there's something in the way. Now I can have it hang real low so that it clears, but then it's hanging out down here, and that's not a good place to be. What the factory exhaust did was the passenger side went straight down, and the driver's side came across here and connected to the passenger side. And it was one pipe going to a muffler and then out the back. We're not doing that either. What we're gonna do, we're gonna have one pipe come straight out and out the back. And then we're gonna have this one cut across here like the stock exhaust, but stay its own separate pipe and run all the way to the back. And then after the back, we may have it run straight out the back, or we may have it run out both sides. Anybody else see that? That's daylight coming through the header. Retro. My plan was to run two 90-degree bends out of each header. The driver's side one will come straight down, and then put a 45 that'll cut this way and then that way. And then the passenger side would come straight down and kick straight back. But there's a problem with that. First problem is the header hits the starter. The starter is adjustable, but I don't have a whole lot more room till it's hitting the pan. Another problem, can't really tell, it's kicked forward. So with the straight pipe on it, it points at the ground. Not great. It needs to go up there. And the last issue, because it's so close to there, there's no room for the other pipe. But I have an idea. So this is our basic idea. We're gonna have the two 90s come out from the headers, clock it this way, have a 45, have it go straight back, 90 on the passenger side, just go straight towards the back. That's where this comes in. This is going to go up in the collector. So if the collector is like that, same towards the back, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to have to shorten everything to make it all fit, but just for demonstration purposes, it's going to kick the exhaust over that way. And the up and down issue I can fix now by rotating the 90 to get that pipe nice and straight. Obviously, though, like you see, I have to shorten that quite a bit. But that's not a big deal. I have a welder. So the way I figured this cut out is I took a tape measure and I put it up against the bottom of the collector and measured from there to the point at which the 90 hit the top of the starter. It was a nut that basically holds the body of the starter together. It was about 2.5 inches. And I wanted to keep these cuts as straight as possible. So I figured out where the closest I can get here before the bend really starts. And right there to here, where the bend is about 2 inches. But also, that much of it is going up into the V-band. So you get a little bit more space there. So it should clear quite a bit. And if it's going straight back, it's still gonna hit. But because it's kicking off to the side, like that, there's a big gap right there. So right there at the 2.5 inch mark is where that nut would be. And that's how much space we have. The next step is get this tacked up to the collector and get it set in place. So after much trial and error, this is what our 45 looks like now. I went ahead and welded up to the flange, kind of rotated it in a spot where I thought it would fit, and it was still kicking too far over towards the frame rail. So I cut this section out and turned it 180 so that it's got a 45 away from the starter, but then it turns back down straight and lines up with our 90. I got it lined up where I wanted it, got these marks on here, and that's basically what it looks like. I just got to tack weld it on and finish our dry fit. All right, so we got bolted in. I have only slightly less clearance than I do to the oil pan, but I can adjust that. And it goes straight back, and it's tucked up in the frame rail. Doesn't quite touch my cross member there, so I can move it over a tad. Like I said, I got a little bit more adjustment I can make. That's roughly how that side's gonna go. And I gotta start on the driver's side. The issues I have with the driver's side is this pipe's just a little too short, and it hits the bell housing somewhere around in here. So I need to add about 3/4 to an inch right here to clear that. And I'm gonna have to adjust the length of these where they slip in and out to get it all the way over and in place. We'll know that once we get this set though. This here's my 90 that's going on the driver's side. I already added the extra 1/2 inch of length I needed to clear the bell housing. I got the V-bend on there. I'm gonna go ahead and weld that on. Had a little bit of material sticking out through the top there, but I need that because it helps keep the V-band centered. It didn't come with a little flange to keep it centered, so that extra little bit of pipe kind of helps. Let's do that real quick. The V-band is welded on. I went ahead and let it cool off, and now I got it mostly in there. I can get it loose a little bit so I can move it around. Which is kind of the upside of these V-bands. You can rotate and make adjustments. So this is about what we're going for here. See, it's right up against the transmission right now. So I made this mark there. It's about the length that goes inside of this slip joint. And it's right where I need to come out. So basically right there is about where I want it to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that much more to this 45. And we'll go on the next thing. So instead of having to add some tubing to that 45, I found this piece, which is exactly double the length that I was going to add. I could just slide it in there. And where this piece was going to slide in, flip it around. And that is our length right there. Sweet. All right, now let's go on the next thing. The next thing is we're gonna take these two U-bends and make our own X pipe. See, I already found the center of this one here. I'm gonna go ahead and make another mark on this one. And what I did was I measured what the tubes in the truck, what the outside to outside was, about 6 3/4. This is around 10, I believe, 9.5. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut that difference out of the middle and shrink this back together on both of these. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna cut halfway through here on both of them and weld them together and make my X pipe. So I went ahead and cut this in half and measured over 1 5/8 both sides. You see I got the checkered line there for my cut. 1 5/8 together is 3 1/4, and that is how much narrower the pipes in the truck are to the U-bend. So if I cut this 3 1/4 out, weld that back together, that should hopefully line up with the tubing as it sits in the truck. So ignore all that, I messed this up. We're not gonna do next pipe. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this to get the offset I need with some adjustment right into the muffler to get that spacing. Went ahead and tacked the driver's side pipe partially together. I did remove the sleeve, so that's just butted together and tacked on. I'm gonna throw this back in and start routing the tubing to the muffler. This is basically what we're going for here. Now we just gotta figure out how to mount this muffler. This is our completed exhaust. This end here goes into the headers. Driver's side, passenger side. It's for our O2 sensor. I just got a little plug in there right now to keep the paint from going into the threads. It's all fully welded and painted. This little section here is basically just to make this side line up so that they both go into the muffler evenly. The hook here it's going to hang from is actually a 3/8 stainless fuel line that is kind of bent up and made fit. And the tailpipes, the down pipes, are actually the 180 band, the one that's shaped like a U. Just cut it in half, shove it in there, weld it up. It dumps right behind the rear axle. The other side of our mount is also a piece of 3/8 fuel line, bent up, welded it onto the floor support. Our bushing here is just a generic one off the shelf of O'Reilly's. The hook off the back of the muffler will go on this side, hang there, and that will support the whole back half of the exhaust. So the paint was more of an experiment than anything. I don't expect it to hold up for too long, but if it makes it last a little longer, it'd be nice. Obviously, it looks a little bit better. So some previous clips, some of them, the tubing looked pretty rusty in spots from where my hand was touching it. I cleaned it up real good, sanded it down, put a coat of VHT primer on it, and about 2 coats of this VHT flameproof. 1 can gets 1 coat, so you're gonna need a couple cans if you go to do this. And put a blanket down and a towel over the rear end to protect the paint from the concrete and from the axle. Let's go ahead and throw her in. All right, everything's put in. Everything fits good. All you need to do now is attach your O2 sensor and fire her up. All right, so I let the paint cure overnight. Went ahead and topped off my fuel cell, plugged the plug wires back in. We're going to fire her up. Well, the exhaust seems to be working. She's definitely quieter. I still have an exhaust leak coming out of this header down in the collector. I thought I fixed it earlier, but I guess I must have missed a pinhole somewhere, and it's just... so I'll pull it off at some point and fix it. But everything else seems to be working well. A good time to mention this whole exhaust setup is temporary. I do have another set of headers I want to put on here eventually. They don't fit in the current setup, but I'll make another video on that when I decide to make that happen. I meant to show more of the fabrication process. It was just too much work running back and forth between crawling under the truck and cutting tubing and welding, so I apologize, but hopefully on the next one I'll show more of that. Anyway, that's it. That's the exhaust on my old 84 Bronco. If you want to see more out of this and other projects, please subscribe, like, leave a comment. Leave a comment of what you want to see. Any more questions you have on this vehicle or any of the others I got laying around, leave a comment. All right, well, see you next week. Bye. Why would you do all that work just to take those headers back out and put something else in there? I don't know. I have no idea.